Hello and welcome to what is very definitely not a vlog and not to do with van building either. I've been nominated in one of these challenge things that you see on YouTube occasionally, where one YouTuber does a thing and then nominates some others, and they do the thing and they nominate some others, and it all spreads out tree-like. And this is called the 3x3 challenge, where I'm supposed to come up with 3 interesting things about myself. That is quite tricky because I am not an interesting person. I have not much interesting to tell. So thanks very much, Greg Virgo, for nominating me for thanks. Cheers, Greg. If you're not already aware of Greg, he is the master DIY camper van builder. You've probably seen his channel. If you haven't, I have left a link to it in the video description below, and you should definitely go and have a look at it, because if you want to see how a camper van conversion should be done, his is the channel to watch. Anyway, he nominated me. I've got to think of 3 interesting or unusual or other things that people might not know about me. So here goes. My middle name is Gwyn. Gwyn. Yes, it is Welsh. And no, not Guinevere or Gwyneth or any of the other female equivalents. I heard them all at school and it's still not funny. But I know you're going to try writing some in the comments below, so thanks. David Gwyn Johns. It is a good Welsh name, and the reason I mention this as my interesting thing number 1 is because since completing the van, I've had a lot of people say to me, well, where are you going to take the van? And as yet, it is still largely unplanned. But one place I am going to go is to South Wales, because my family on my father's side comes from nearby Swansea, a place called Mumbles. It's a little town near Swansea, and my dad grew up there and my grandmother lived there, I think, all her life, and I used to go there as a child on family holidays, but I have not been back for many years. So I'm going to take the van there on one of its trips. I don't know quite when. It will probably be November time, perhaps winter time, because I'm about to go out on my boat again for a little while. So by the time I get round to doing van trips, it'll probably be November. And I'm also going to visit, while I'm over there, and I think he knows it, the man who used to be Gongoozler TV and is now Shenanigans, but supposed to be Chevanigans. It's a long story. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description below. And he's doing a van build, so I want to show him this van and have a look at his van, and then go on, as I say, to the land of my forefathers on my father's side, if you see what I mean. So that is thing number 1. When I turned 40, which was some years ago now, I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania by way of, not quite celebration, but marking the event. And it was quite a surprising thing for me to do. I'm very unfit. I don't do a lot of physical activity, and going up Kili, you're not actually climbing, it is trekking, and it's a steep trek at the end, but it is nonetheless a trek. You have to scramble over the odd rock here and there, but it's not like climbing Everest. But it is quite a lot of physical exertion, and you are very high up, and you certainly feel the effects of altitude on your breathing. The air is really thin, and when you do that final ascent to the summit, which you do at night, you really are wheezing in and out. So this was quite unlike me to do it, quite apart from anything else. Also, we were camping in tents on the edge of the mountain on the 7 days or so it took us to do the trip, and I don't think I'd ever been camping. I think I'd slept in a tent as a child, but that was just in the back garden. So this was quite the adventure for me, and that was 9 years ago. All of which means, of course, that next year I turn 50. So the reason I'm mentioning this one is not only because going up Kili is mildly interesting, but also because I remember thinking then, what will I do when I'm 50? Well, that's next year. So suggestions, please, for an interesting thing I could do of that sort of ilk. Doesn't have to be another mountain. I'm not going to get up Everest, although I did idly have dreams of it once upon a time. That's not going to happen. But what big thing can you suggest? Put it in the comments below that I should do to mark my 50th, other than just not expire gently. Any suggestions? Some suggestions gratefully received. About 18 or so years ago, I think it was, I had a handful of microlight flying lessons. Microlights, if you're unaware, are the little flying craft that look like a hang glider with a baby's trike pushchair attached below it and then an engine on the back. So you are sitting in this little trike thing with 1 or 2 seats, hang glider wing above you, and a little, I think there were 2-cylinder engines, 2-stroke possibly, on the back with a little propeller, and off you go. And I had a handful of lessons, maybe 10 lessons or so. It is supposedly one of the cheaper ways to get into flying compared to flying fixed wing, full-blown Cessnas and things like that. But it was reasonably expensive for me at the time, and I think I stopped because of lack of funds, and also there was no way I was going to be able to afford to buy my own microlight. You can pick second-hand ones up quite cheap, but I would be quite nervous of picking up a cheap one. I think I'd want quite a nice one, and it all wasn't going to happen anyway. But I had a few lessons, and it was kind of fun, very, very interesting. You're very free because it's just you in this trike thing. There's no cockpit round you, really, so you are peering over the edge, looking down 2,000 feet at the ground below you. And I've idly thought it might be fun to have another go at that, but I've recently become aware that somebody I know is, I think he's qualified as an autogyro pilot and used to do autogyroing. And autogyros, of course, are the microlighty things that look like mini helicopters but aren't helicopters because they work in a different way. And James Bond flew one. Which Bond was it? I think it was Sean Connery, wasn't it? Don't remember the film. Someone will know it and put it in the comments below, I'm sure. And he flew an autogyro. Anyway, this friend of mine is going to get one again, and I thought that might be a bit fun. So conceivably in the future I will be able to bag a passenger flight in this autogyro and go choppering around, in which case I might post up a video here, or if I go flying over the canals I'll put it over on my Cruising the Cut channel. So that is the third and final possibly interesting thing about me. That's it then for my 3x3 challenge. I am supposed to nominate 3 other people to do it, but I'm not going to do that. I haven't checked with anyone to see if they're okay to be nominated, and I don't just want to spring it onto them. So this is where I shall call a halt to the video. I hope it was mildly interesting, something perhaps just to watch on a Sunday afternoon. Anyway, that's it for now. Cheerio.